Winter is the hardest time of year for farmers. The days are short, and snow and ice can cause all sorts of problems. Hill sheep spend all year outdoors, high up in the Scottish hills, where it's cold and wet and windy. They're pretty tough animals, but farmers still have to keep a careful eye on them. The farmers take feed up to the sheep when the weather's really bad. Of course, winter sometimes drags into spring, which came as a bit of a shock to these poor lowland lambs. Most animals are kept indoors during the winter. Dairy cattle, for example, winter inside. During the winter, they're fed on silage and cattle cake, a mix of barley, soya, oilseed rape, meal and minerals. Dairy cows are kept for their milk and their meat. When the calves are born, their mothers produce milk. Remember, no calf, no milk. A good cow can produce as much as 50 litres of milk in a day. That's nearly a bathful. Every day, a tanker driver comes to the farm and takes all the milk away. Dairy farmers keep all the female calves because, when they get old enough, they'll produce milk. But the male calves are sold on to other farmers for finishing for beef. Beef cattle are just farmed for their meat. Some beef farmers have what's known as breeding herds. The calves will be born on their farms, and they'll keep those calves until they're big enough to go to the butcher. Some beef farmers, though, just keep store cattle. They don't breed their own cattle. Instead, they buy calves from other farmers when the calves are about 6 to 12 months old, and then they fatten them up. This is known as finishing. This is a mixer wagon. It's a bit like a giant food processor. It chops and mixes up different kinds of feed like silage, straw, minerals, barley, and something called pot ale syrup, which comes from whiskey making. It might not sound very tasty to you, but these animals absolutely love it. Although it's winter, there are still crops to be harvested. These are Brussels sprouts. In the field, Brussels sprouts grow like this: a long stem with leaves on top and the sprouts themselves growing up the stem. If you had to pick them all off by hand, it would be a terrible job. Thankfully, there's this brilliant machine. It looks like something out of Star Wars. First, it cuts through the bottom of the stems. The workers pick up the cut plants and shove them leaf end first into these holes. Inside, special blades whiz round the stem and cut off all the sprouts, and the sprouts end up inside this hopper. Brilliant! Now, who said Brussels sprouts were boring? Farming doesn't just happen on land, it happens in water too. It's a special type of farming known as aquaculture. All sorts of things are produced this way: mussels, oysters, halibut. But by far the biggest thing to come out of fish farming is salmon. Scottish farmed salmon is delivered to the shops every day of the year. Baby salmon hatch from eggs. A single female salmon, or hen fish, can produce thousands of eggs. When the fish hatch, they're called alevins, and they carry their own food. You can see it there in that little bag under its tummy. When salmon are born, they're freshwater fish, but as they get older, their bodies change to allow them to live in salt water. At this stage, they're known as smolts. These smolts are transferred to cages which float in the sea. Each cage contains thousands of fish. Farmers monitor the fish using underwater cameras. The fish get fed special pellets. The fish are monitored and weighed until they're big enough to send to the supermarkets. In comparison with salmon farming, mussel farming is easy peasy lemon squeezy. All you need is nice clean seawater. Somewhere like the sea loch is perfect. You hang a rope in the water and then you wait. Tiny baby mussels swim along, latch onto the rope and grow there. Once they're big enough, you pull up the rope and all you have to do is pick them off. Simple. This kind of loch is also ideal for oyster farming. The baby oysters are placed in these cages and left to grow. Scottish oysters are sent to posh restaurants all over the world. And we'll leave it there. That's it. Just a very quick introduction to all the delicious things Scottish farmers produce for you to eat. Beef, lamb, chicken, venison, salmon, milk, eggs, tatties, vegetables, fruit and cereals. Hail, rain or shine, 365 days a year, Scottish farmers are out there working for you, producing some of the best food in the world. And they don't just produce food. They also care for the land. They look after the countryside because they're proud of it. Huge parts of Scotland look as beautiful as they do because of the hard work that farmers put in. We hope that this film helps you understand where your food comes from. You're bound to have lots of questions, so why not see if you can get your school to organise a visit to a farm? The farmer will be delighted to see you and answer some of those questions for you.